Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really profound question, one that gets at the very nature of truth itself. It's based on this fascinating philosophical argument that asks, what if the foundation of all truth isn't a what, but a who?
So let's just jump right in with the big question. When we talk about truth, are we talking about some impersonal principle, kind of like gravity, that's just out there waiting to be discovered? Or could it be something else entirely? Maybe even someone else? As you're about to see, how you answer that changes absolutely everything.
To even start to unpack that, we first have to get our heads around the difference between just being wrong and actually being responsible for what you believe. Now, they might sound like the same thing, but this argument says they are worlds apart.
Okay, so on one side, you've got what's called inconsistency. This is just a logical error. It's like saying A and not A are both true at the same time. You've broken a rule in a system. You've made a mistake, sure, but the real question is, who have you actually let down?
But being responsible, well, that feels totally different, doesn't it? It has this personal weight to it. It feels like you've failed a claim that was made on you. You get this sense that you owe someone an answer. It's not just about breaking a rule, it's about failing a person.
And this feeling leads us to a really crucial concept, addressability. The idea here is that for any truth or any rule to make you feel responsible, it can't just be floating around in the ether. It has to be directed at you, personally. It has to be able to point a finger and say, hey, this applies to you.
So here's the kicker. An abstract idea, a logical structure, it can prove you're being inconsistent, but it can't hold you responsible. And why not? Because it doesn't have a voice. It can't speak to you. Only a direct address, from someone to someone, can create that feeling that you owe an answer.
Okay, so if we follow that logic, if the ultimate ground of truth has to be able to speak to us to create responsibility, then what would it have to be like? Think of this next part as the job description for the most important role in the entire universe. What are the absolute must-haves?
The argument lays out 5 really demanding criteria, and each one is a deal breaker. First, it can't be derived from something else, because then that thing would be the real ground of truth. Second, it can't be abstract. A pure structure can't mean anything or speak. Third, it can't be contingent. It has to be necessary, not some rule we could change tomorrow. Fourth, it can't be fragmented. It's got to be simple and unified. And fifth, bringing it all home, it has to be actively addressing us. It has to have a voice. All right, that is one heck of a checklist. So, the question becomes, has anyone or anything in all of human history ever actually stepped forward and claimed to meet all 5 of those conditions? The search is on.
According to the source material, you're not going to find the answer in a philosopher's complex arguments. Why? Because those systems, as we just saw, are abstract. They can't address us.
And you're not going to find it in a sage's quiet insight either. That often points towards some kind of silent, impersonal force. But again, no voice, no address.
Instead, this argument points to a single, direct, historical statement, a name that is also, at the same time, a declaration of self-sufficient existence, spoken, of all places, from a burning bush in the middle of the wilderness.
Now, this is what's so wild about this. The statement, I am, isn't a description. It's not saying I am powerful or I am wise. It's a raw claim of being that refuses to be defined by anything else. It's a name that is its own foundation.
And this claim didn't just appear as some timeless myth. It entered history at a specific time, spoken to a specific person. But the story was far from over.
What the argument presents is this incredible progression. First, you have a voice, speaking to Moses from a fire that doesn't burn out. And then you fast forward centuries, and you have a person walking the streets of Jerusalem making the exact same claim.
You know, that first event in the wilderness, it wasn't some silent, mystical vision. It was a literal conversation. The source material really emphasizes this. Moses asks questions, the voice answers back, and he's given a very specific mission. It ticked the boxes. It was historical, addressable, and direct.
Then, all that time later, this man, Jesus of Nazareth, says something truly shocking. He doesn't just refer back to that moment in the wilderness. He takes that unique, self-defining name for himself.
And the reaction of the crowd tells you everything you need to know about how serious this claim was. They understood perfectly that he wasn't just quoting history, he was claiming that identity for himself. He was saying, I am the I am. And what was their response? They immediately picked up stones. That's how radical it was.
Okay, for our last section, let's pull back and see how this claim really stacks up against other major world thinkers. How unique is this kind of self-identification, really?
This table just makes the difference so clear. Think about it. Plato pointed us toward an abstract realm of forms. The Buddha taught a path to enlightenment that pointed away from himself. Muhammad delivered a message he said came from another. They all pointed somewhere else. But the I am claimant, he points directly to himself as the ground of it all.
Now, it's really important to get this next point. The argument isn't about proving other views wrong. It's what you might call recognition by fit. It's simply observing that, in all of recorded history, this is the only claimant that even attempts to fit all 5 of those incredibly demanding criteria we started with.
So let's bring it all back. If that initial premise is right, if truth has to be a who in order to hold us responsible, then this specific historical claim changes the entire game. It stops being a philosophical puzzle we need to solve, and it becomes a direct address aimed at us.
And that doesn't leave us with a neat, tidy conclusion. It leaves us with a profound challenge, because if this argument holds any water, then the ultimate question is no longer the abstract what is true. It becomes the intensely personal, a voice is spoken, so how will we answer?